Let's play the... While you eat your sandwich, let's play the see how many of Guy Pearce's movies you can name without saying game. The Proposition. You lose.
I don't know any Guy Pearce film.
What do you mean you don't know any Guy Pearce films?
Do you mean Guy Martin?
No! That's the motorcycle man. Guy Pearce. Yeah. He was in... what was he in? Apart from The Proposition. He was in Lockdown. He was in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. He was in Memento, that everyone remembers.
I've never watched Memento.
Ugh.
I'm sorry, I'm an awful person.
According with an ignoramus.
Yeah.
Doing an intro.
Should we do an intro? I don't know.
Bam, ba, ba, bam, bam, bam. Oh, that's copyrighted.
Yeah,
no,
it is.
You didn't hear that, viewers. You didn't hear it.
Poor renditions of it cannot be sold, surely.
I don't think that
it's fair use.
I don't think that Shazam would pick up on that. I don't think my singing is good enough to...
Hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners. It's Christmas time.
Unfortunately.
He sees you when you're sleeping, but I know when you're awake. It's Stephen and Lewis. We don't have a name for this podcast, so I thought until you can come up with a better one, which will be the end of time, I think we should call it Ignorance and Want. And our viewers can decide which is which.
Or I'm ignorant, you're Want.
Have you seen Star Wars?
I don't watch Star Wars. You know this already.
You don't watch it on a loop like I do. Constantly projected onto the roof of my bedroom.
Our topic, by the way,
but only the first three. Only Phantom Menace, Clones, and the other one. Not the good ones. That would be too much. I watched the prequels on a loop.
You watch the shit ones because it makes you feel better about yourself that you're not Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill's great. He was in Village of the Damned. He plays the Joker. He's great.
Does he?
He's the voice of the Joker in the Batman games and in the animated series that everyone thought was good.
Listeners will soon realise that I don't watch Batman.
Don't watch Batman. Don't watch... What do you do with your time? How can you exist on the internet if you're interested in neither Batman nor Star Wars? What the hell do you talk about?
I watch Peep Show and masturbate.
Oh. Not at the same time, I hope.
Oh, jizz.
I just thought that you could take Peep Show and make it an art installation, like take away the sound and just play it on a loop and just call it Two Men Slowly Age. Because they're looking a bit older in the latest one. Yes. I watched it. I watched an episode from like season 5 and then I watched an episode from season 1. Like season 1 is unwatchable. Like season 1 is season 2 is when it got funny. Season 1 is
opening ever.
Season 1 is terrible.
Season 1, the first episode is brilliant. Where David Mitchell, the guy who plays, forgot what his fucking name is. That's good that I watch Peep Show.
Robert Webb.
Mark
Corrigan.
Yes. Mark goes, opening scene, Mark goes, anybody who puts on their socks before they put on their pants is inhuman. And then Jez goes past the door with his socks on and nothing else and takes a piss all over the seat.
Do you want to know? I sometimes wear socks and no pants.
Yeah. No. That's perfectly fine.
I'm doing that right now. That's why I had to put a towel down on the sofa.
Is this why we're not filming? We're just...
Well, we could, but that would take us into another genre.
Leaving it to the listener's imagination.
Leaving it to your imagination to come back to you in the dark of night with a storm beating outside the door. You'll remember my disgusting undercarriage that you imagine.
Speaking of disgustingness and... yes, Donald Trump.
I don't want to speak about Donald Trump. Let's speak about Star Wars some more. Have you seen a spoiler? Have you seen a spoiler yet? I was got by one of the spoilers. I clicked on like a Huffington Post story or something, and in the comments, like the second comment was a picture comment that spoilt the end of Star Wars. I can spoil it for you now.
Go ahead.
Because it's kind of like a disease. It's like you don't want to get it, but now that I know, I kind of want to spoil it for you, just so that you can share in my misery.
Does Bruce Willis...
Bruce Willis is actually a bloke. That is the spoiler.
Is it? Yeah. He's not a ghost. That's the problem.
Actually, she's a bloke, and Rosebud is Luke Skywalker's father. That is the spoiler. And Tyler Green is actually people.
Oh god. Oh god. So what's the spoiler then?
I'm not going to tell you.
You're not going to tell me?
Well, if I did tell you, I would have to bleep it out on the podcast.
Because are we... Okay.
I can tell you. Are you going to go and see it? Are you going to be massively disappointed?
If somebody drags me along...
Because I told Vicky, and I basically just like reflexively saw it and then just read it out to Vicky, and then she was like, "You motherfucker!" I wanted to see the film unspoiled, but apparently the guy who is like guy with is son, and at the end...
Oh. Okay.
Has that made it more interesting or less interesting?
No, this is turning into an episode of Jeremy Kyle. I don't know anybody...
Star Wars always was that. Yeah.
The reason why I say, mention Star Wars and Donald Trump as well, is that... Have you seen the BBC article on how to avoid Star Wars?
There's a Google add-on that you can get that makes you avoid all Star Wars spoilers.
Oh, really?
Was that it?
No.
I thought similar technology could be employed to halt the rise of Donald Trump.
It's exactly what I was going to say.
I was watching a really interesting video that was basically like Donald Trump is the monster created by the media, basically.
Okay.
If you go to left-wing websites, it will be nothing but how right-wing the media is. Like if you go into like Facebook groups that are just like Jeremy Corbyn, woo,
yeah, Corbynites. Like it sounds like a bit of a folder.
The Corbynites are a new faction in the new Star Wars movie. Strange webbed feet creatures that attack anyone on sight by moaning at them. But yeah, if you go into Corbynites, it's nothing but how right-wing the media is. But if you go onto like a right-wing Facebook group, it's nothing but discussing how left-wing the media is.
Really?
And that's like if you go to the Republicans, they're just like the left-wing media. Well, they tolerate you. They can't be that left-wing.
Yeah.
But like they do that, and Donald Trump is basically... The Republican voters like him because they think somehow he speaks against this left-wingness and this political correctness in the media. And the media is... because they are scraping for every view they can get at the moment, they are forced to report on him because he is so popular, increasing his popularity. I saw a graph of the Republican Party people, where they are in the polls and how many reports have been done about them. And it was a correlation of like 0.96, which is basically a line.
Yeah.
Like the more their news reports are about you, the higher in the polls you go. And they did it as the news went on, so the number of stories increased, and you could see them moving about. Like as the number of news stories go on, as the number of news stories decrease, your poll numbers decrease as well. So it's basically like if we report on you, you do well. Now this may not translate into actual votes because it didn't for UKIP and it didn't for National Front in France. And hopefully it won't in America either. But
it's America.
That's the worrying thing.
Yeah.
When right-wingers come up in Germany or in France or anywhere in the world, in Japan, we go, it's okay because they are sane enough that even the incredibly greasy wheel is still in a minority. Greasy wheel, the incredibly squeaky wheel is still in a minority. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Even in Britain, like UKIP was basically, we all just went, "Oh, isn't it horrible?" And then we went, "Yeah, but they're not going to win anything. They're never going to win."
See,
but the people who went, "Oh, Nigel Farage for PM," like are never ever going to make. Like he was never going to be prime minister in no universe. In the multiverse theory of all the possible universes, in none of them is Nigel Farage the leader of the UK.
It's one of the universes,
but as you said,
exclusively pubs as well.
But as you said, it's America.
Yeah.
And we're like, actually, this is the country that just cannot pass gun control legislation. I mean, this is the country that, if Congress was on fire, they could not pass a Pour Water on Congress Act. Their government needs an injection of laxative so it can shit out all this bullshit and actually get back to running the country. That's my rant. Did we have problems from our friends and...
Not for this week. We must explain to the listeners that we have already attempted this podcast.
Yes.
Twice.
Welcome to Competent Lewis's recording hour.
Yes.
Because we tried to record it first. Why don't you tell the story? I feel like I talk too much.
We went round to my flat and started to record, and then puppies happened, and puppies were everywhere.
If only there was some way for you to predict the existence of the dogs that live at your house and have for months before we even came up with this idea.
I thought they'd be quite nice and tame. Like, I thought they'd be quite quiet, but no, they're excited by your beard. They wanted to tear it off.
I trimmed it. I trimmed it for my interview today.
I did not notice.
Well, it's because you trim it around the side, so it looks nice and...
Fair enough. I can't grow a beard.
Luxuriant. Well, that's too bad.
I've only written one joke over the past year that I can think of, and it's fucking awful, and it's only applicable to a certain sector of society who will find it funny.
Share it with the group.
No. Well, I suppose it's Christmas, so yes, but it's a Christmas joke. Ugh. What's a graphic designer's favourite food? Panettone. Yeah, I know it's not your palate. Next problem.
Yes.
Does that answer?
You are.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, you are.
People hate us because we ramble on.
It might be
fun at parties.
Well, I don't think that we are fun at parties. I haven't been to a party for years. Maybe that says something about me.
Well, I've been to a political party. I've just not been to one that involves a verb. There's a. Are you with me, Stephen?
I can hear the cogs turning. Trying to get around that joke. Trying to navigate the circumference of that joke.
Oh, good God.
Oh, I got there.
Next problem.
It wasn't worth it. I should say, even though this is our first podcast, we've got some sponsors.
We have some sponsors.
This podcast is sponsored by Christmas. Christmas, whether you want it or not. This podcast is also sponsored by Christmas. Christmas.
God, yeah. No. This podcast is sponsored by Simon Mayo's Simon Mayo.
Simon Mayo's Simon Mayo.
Yes.
Damn tasty if you can find it, which you can't. I love Simon Mayo. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's good. That joke's also ripped from a different podcast, in which I apologise to the makers of that podcast.
Well, so is the whole sponsorship thing is stolen from Dear Hank and John that I listen to.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay,
moving on.
Bring us another problem and then illustrate it, elucidate it for the listeners.
Forth Road Bridge. How do you solve people being...
How do you solve a problem like the Forth Road Bridge?
Yes. What is the unladen weight of a swallow?
Well, the Forth Road Bridge, I mean, the way to fix that is to have 30 or 40 years of competent government. But if we're going to live entirely in the land of fantasy...
then we should be voting UKIP.
They're like... But in... how would you solve the Forth Road? I'm going to have to drive around it at Christmas time. We rented a car and we're going up to Aberdeen, so I'm going to have to drive over the Kincardine Bridge.
We are now at a point where tunnelling underneath the Forth would not be a problem.
There is a tunnel under the Forth.
There is indeed, yes. That's where my idea came from. There are two collieries either side of the Forth. Nobody can find the entrances to it, so nobody can use it. Nobody can try and force their Ford Fiesta down the gap. How do we solve that? We're just presenting problems. We're not actually solving any of them.
Well, I think we should answer them with dubious solutions. So I think finding... if you have to go home to Aberdeen for Christmas, listener, or you have to go from Aberdeen or Dundee or any of the places in between to Edinburgh across the Forth Road Bridge and it's shut, I think you should invest thousands of hours trying to find the entrance to the Forth Tunnel, excavate it, pave it, make it safe, and then use it.
Yes.
I think that is the only reasonable solution.
I might also suggest that you don't go across the Forth Road Bridge. Not the Forth Road Bridge, just the Forth in general. Not even at Stirling. Not anywhere where the Forth goes.
What about round it? Would you accept that? Or are you just saying don't go north of the Forth?
Yeah, just don't go north.
What's wrong with that? North quite nice.
We're from the north, that's why I'm here.
I was up there at the weekend. It was quite nice. Small doses.
Yes, exactly, small doses. You have to... It's medicinal.
I went hill walking, it was nice.
Huh.
Had a meal out, it was nice.
Yeah, I don't believe you. Get ready for a brief intermission.
A brief intermission. This is the exciting bit of the podcast. Man looks up thing on laptop.
By the way, 10 points if you can name that track.
No, Spanish Flea.
Yes, by?
I don't know, I was listening to it yesterday as a matter of course. Fair enough. Pick one at random. And make up a funny name for them.
Trivial Hirsute says, who would win in a pub fight, Boris Johnson or Nigel Farage?
What, are they in like two warring pubs in a small town for the people's business? Or are they in a pub having a fight? They've split in infinitive, I have no idea.
I think that it would be...
Or have they mechanised two pubs that are now marching around like Pacific Rim and are going to punch each other in giant pub-based...
Transformers.
Massive suits that will...
The pubs have gained sentience.
Well, no, they haven't. They're being piloted by Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson, so neither of them is sentient. I don't know. I think Bojo has a weight advantage.
Yes,
I think if you punched Farage, he would crumble like Ben Kenobi. I think he would just vanish in a puff of stale cigar smoke and a beer burp, and his clothes would fall to the floor.
I think.
What do you think? Who would win? See, I reckon Boris Johnson's got a mean right hook, actually.
But Boris Johnson would petulantly talk for the first 10 minutes and then go, oh, fuck it, and then punch Nigel Farage. And Nigel Farage would select an audience to watch that's exclusively white, like in a Fight Club.
White Club.
Yes. First rule of Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club.
The first rule of White Club, we're not racist.
Yeah.
The second rule of White Club, we're not racist. Honest. We're going to keep bringing up, apropos of nothing, that we're not racist.
Can you say you're...
I'm not racist, Lewis. I'm not racist, but... I'm not racist, but I am quite keen to see the new Star Wars. I'm not racist, but we're going to go gym this evening, me and Vicky. I'm not racist, but I
Stormtroopers
quite like living down here in Leith. These are all things that are not racist opinions.
Why are Stormtroopers exclusively white?
Well, if you watch Star Wars, the Rebel Alliance is associated with the lighter colours of the spectrum, whereas Darth Vader and the Imperials all wear black. The Stormtroopers have black, like, stuff in between their armour plates.
Yes.
But they have white armour, implying, like, the benevolent force, but actually the darkness is within their eyes and in their armour. It's a symbolic. It's symbolic
quite poetic.
thing. It's not that poetic.
Well,
like GCSE poetic. It's all right. The first two Star Wars films are good. The New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. They're quite good. I haven't seen the new one yet. It's supposed to be good.
Are the Star Wars films, or do they all contain Stormtroopers?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they're in all three of the originals anyway.
Nice. They've changed the suit, haven't they?
Yes, to cash in a new line of toys.
They have indeed.
And suits.
Cough, cough.
Crafty
Disney.
Well, Disney are the kings of marketing.
Yeah. They're taking the piss a bit.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
The continuing Marvel universe I really don't care about. Do you care about all the new Marvel movies?
No, I don't. There's a weird thing that I don't like these kind of movies. I like movies with a lot of original plot. There's a new movie out soon called, let me get this, it's not called that. It's called Anomalisa. Anyway, it's all stop motion and it looks amazing. I highly recommend that you see the trailer and then see the movie when it comes out at the end of this month. It is fucking amazing.
Okay.
I think it looks nice. But anyway, it's got an original plot to it.
Well, you don't know that.
I think it looks like
You mean
it does.
you like films that are original properties as opposed to based on the comic book or Sandwich Toaster or whatever they are based on?
Sandwich Toaster?
They're scraping the barrel, Lewis. They're being inspired by increasingly bizarre things.
Yes. Have you watched Jessica Jones?
No.
No. It's a Netflix.
Not to her knowledge.
Oh, good God.
No, I haven't. I don't really care about Marvel, if I'm honest.
No, it's...
I watch the movies when they come up, but I don't like the sort of jovial half smirk that they have all the way through everything. They're just a bit pleased with themselves, for my liking. Right,
this is a...
You should bring a problem, because it's about our personal problems, and then you have a lot of problems.
Are we... I do have a lot of problems. Yeah, but most of my problems can't be solved.
Don't say that. It's suicide. This is the return of the segment the public has been asking for. Man looks up thing on laptop.
I don't know, I can't think of any questions. I should probably write down a week beforehand. Shall we just say, because this is our first podcast, that we should probably get all the expletives out the way?
No, because I'll have to bleep them.
Yes. Well, we'll say...
Don't do that. We've already sworn a bit. I'm going to have to bleep that.
Fuck. I don't know, but there's nothing wrong with the word falafel. And you've already beeped the last one, so people are going to think I said falafel and not fuck. Okay.
It's unfunny.
Fair enough. Genuinely can't. I've got a lot of problems, but to put on a podcast.
Well, you could say, I say. My friend has a problem, and it's this.
Huh.
And people would never know it was yours unless they knew you, which I do.
I say, I have a problem. Mm-hmm. The music industry. How does one fix it so that artists get a fair deal?
Well, they never have, historically speaking, got a fair deal. It's just there used to be more money in music, so artists got a deal that was fair enough.
Yeah.
But record companies still got... Well, to be fair, big record companies have actually always given artists a fair deal. I mean, giant record companies, like, they make 90% of their money off of, like, one or two acts. So, like, whoever's signed Justin Bieber at the moment, most of their artists will make a loss. Like, it costs more to record the music and put them on tour than they make. But the company just keeps paying for it. It's the Adam Sandler principle. 3 of his movies are flops, but then he makes Grown Ups that makes $1 billion. So for some inexplicable reason, people keep employing him. Yeah. Because you might get one of the hits. Like, Lady Gaga could have been one of the ones that didn't make her money back, that they would quietly drop after a couple of albums. But she turned into one of, like, for a few years there, was like a media superstar, making them billions of dollars. That has always been the case. But yeah, artists used to get a fairly good deal.
Yeah, that's used to.
But so the music industry is dying on its arse. I mean, if you've seen the financial stuff, it's pretty worrying that they just don't make money. But the problem is, if they don't make money, the money men who control the industry take fewer risks, so the music is less interesting, so even fewer people see the need to purchase music or do anything interesting, and that will lead to a lack of new musical genres and musical movements, and the industry is dying on its arse because they have to make more and more sure thing bets. More and more people are going, this has no value, why should I pay for it? I'll just stream the tracks I like. I mean, Spotify is probably the problem.
Yes, I'd go as far to say that Spotify is a problem. I wouldn't say.
I think Spotify is a great idea. It is the Netflix of music. But while Netflix produces, like, some of the best stuff on Netflix is made by them. Like, I just got through watching Narcos, and it's great. And their documentaries.
Oh, I've not seen that yet.
Their documentaries are great, and they finance more and more. They finance good films. I mean, their first feature film was Beasts of No Nation. So instead of making like a shitty comedy or something, they made a film about African child soldiers. It's like, that's fucking brave. Yeah. And they can do that because they are financed ahead of time. HBO are financed by subscription. That's how they can make shows like Game of Thrones and The Wire and all the shows everyone likes.
Yeah.
And Spotify would work like that, apart from they pay their artists fucking nothing.
I don't specifically blame Spotify for that, but I
do, because they set up the model. Like, they make a huge amount of money, but they don't give any of it to the artists. I blame the artists. Like, it needs more. Was it Adele or Taylor Swift or both or neither of them said, oh yeah, we're going to take our music off Spotify, and that's how you fight this. is massive artists that are name artists that will get people to sign up to these services say, yeah, we're taking our music off that because it's not good. It gets headlines so people realise it's not a good system, and then it also gives people less of a reason to sign up to the system to begin with.
Mm.
But I don't know, there's nothing wrong with Spotify, they just need to change the way they make money around. Like, the adverts is bullshit, but like $5 a month, it was Spotify Premium, $5 a month?
Something like that, yeah.
I get it free through my phone and never use it, so...
Yeah.
It's like $5 a month, which is the same as Netflix now.
Something like that, yeah.
In this country. Like, that's a decent price if you use it, like, at all. Like, the way I figure it is, like, Netflix... Like, if you go and buy a box set, if you go out to Tesco's or something and buy True Detective or House of Cards in a box set, it'd be like 15 quid. But you can watch it for $5 a month. So if you just watch a series every 3 months, it's earned its money. Like, I watched all 3 seasons of House of Cards and Narcos, that's me for a year. Of Netflix. And if you also watch movies and stuff, like, it makes its money. It earns its value.
Yeah.
Whereas Spotify...
I think the model has to change.
I don't actually... I haven't looked into it too deeply, so I don't really know how much money Spotify makes.
It's quite a lot, but not into its
Not
billions,
enough to pay all the artists.
Yeah. I don't think it's into its billions.
Again, YouTube pays people pretty well, actually.
Yes, YouTube is by far going to be the biggest catalyst of bringing it slightly fairer for artists. Soon,
the only
maybe,
barrier to that is that I can't listen to YouTube on my phone, because you can't shut the phone off and listen to the audio.
Not yet, you can't. YouTube.
How difficult is that?
It's very easy. That's why YouTube have done that.
Have they?
Yes, the YouTube it's going to be YouTube Red is coming out soon. I was in the beta test for.
But
YouTube
you have to
Music
pay
Key.
for YouTube Red, which I'm not going to do.
Yeah, I'm happy to pay for that.
I'm not.
Well, were you happy to pay for Spotify?
No. That's why I said I get it free from my phone and I never use it.
Ah, fair enough.
I would never pay for it.
But you'd use it if it was YouTube Red, though.
No, I wouldn't.
Because then why are you complaining that you can't listen to?
I'm complaining that if I listen to a song on my iPhone, everything is wonderful.
Yeah.
But when I go to put the phone in my pocket so I can walk around and not have my phone stolen as I walk the streets of Edinburgh by an opportunistic thief, I can't do that. If I press hold, the screen goes dark and the YouTube video goes away and I can't listen to it.
That's what YouTube Red, once you pay for YouTube Red, that goes away. You don't need to do that. You can close the screen and the music's still playing, but it's not available in this country at the moment. YouTube
so why
Music
are you
Key,
advertising it?
I'm advertising because I had YouTube Music Key and it was amazing. This
podcast is sponsored by YouTube Red. YouTube Red, overpriced, but Lewis thinks it isn't.
If we're putting this on YouTube, we're not going to get a good response from Google.
What, because no one will watch it, or because we're abominable?
Both.
They finance various other people are horrible.
Stephen, do you have any problems?
No.
You don't have any
Not
problems?
a one.
I can't. There's nothing that I can fix.
I do have a problem that you can fix. I will still be alive in 2050. Probably.
Okay.
And that is when the real, true, bad effects of climate change will start to state their case.
Okay. Your problem is?
The climate change is happening.
Yeah.
And do you watch Game of Thrones?
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, to people who watch Game of Thrones, climate change is a bit like the White Walkers, a massive fucking zombie army that is going to destroy the world, and no one seems to care. No one is on that. And that is pretty poor.
Yes. So, how do we fix that?
How do we make world leaders and ordinary people realise that the biggest threat to pretty much everything we know is not immigrants, and it's not Muslims, and it's not fucking Taylor Swift, and it's not YouTube Red, it is that we are pumping billions of litres of poison into our atmosphere in the time since we started recording this.
Because, most of our politicians are interested in balancing the books to a certain extent and or feeding money into their own pockets. So, most of that money comes from the oil industry to a certain extent.
I don't know
and
if
they
that's
have
the case.
Vested interests in the oil industry.
I don't know if that's the case. Carry on.
Okay, well, I'm going to use Great Britain as an example. Well, I'm going to say Britain, not great, because it isn't great at the moment.
Well, it is great in that it's larger than Brittany, which is the meaning of great in Great Britain.
Ah.
It's nothing to do with being awesome.
So it's to do with being large.
It's to do with being geographically larger than the French province or area of Brittany.
That's quite hilarious, actually.
Did you not know that?
I did not know this.
Every day's a school day.
Hey, there we go. No, the solutions are there, but I don't think you can get them to realise without actually some sort of threat to their way of living and family, if you see what I mean. In other words, politicians need something to lose before they start making change. And politicians don't have anything to lose because they're dumping the next set of problems onto the next generation.
Yes. I think you have hit upon the problem. I mean, they say that climate change has something like a 10-year delay. So, like, even if we stopped all carbon emissions today, it would continue to get worse for about 10 years before it started to get better.
Yes.
Which cannot be solved in 4 and 5 year electoral cycles.
Yes.
And it's the same problem that we saw with, like, Thatcherism and Reaganism. I mean, Thatcher literally went, what's costing the country so much money? How can we balance the books? Oh, well, we can cut, things that we do. Projects, programs and activities. Oh, okay. What's all this building power stations malarkey? That's costing us millions. Yeah, because we need power stations, Mrs. Thatcher. And they take quite a while to build, and the ones working at the moment will be out of date by the time the new one's built. You can't cancel that. And she went, yeah, but by the time they're out of date, I won't be in power, so I don't care. I won't get the electoral backlash for it. And actually, they'll probably blame whoever is in power at the time, even though it's nothing to do with them. Back to the Forth Road Bridge.
Yes.
The problem is that people don't care. We live our lives. I mean, I think that our children, and especially grandchildren, will be amazed when we tell them how we used to live. They'll be like, you mean there weren't rolling blackouts? You mean there weren't, like, energy limits on how much you could use at once in your house? You mean that you did this, this, and this? You could just turn the heating on when you wanted to? I think they will be amazed at all that.
Yeah.
I mean, you get climate change deniers.
Yes.
Which is like, they are like flat earth people. I mean, climate change is happening. It's identifiable through every branch of science.
Yes. And it's backed up by thousands upon thousands of papers relating to research and scientific articles.
Yeah, but Lewis, you see, like, the scientists have bribed the politicians. Climate change is a lie. I mean, I'm not sure how it's a lie. And if it is a lie, it's a lie to convince us to work together to form energy independence, to work on international cooperation and all those other nice things. I mean, Lewis, what if we embark on this road about fixing the climate and all we do is create a better world? What if climate was a lie and all we get is a better world out of it? What about that, Lewis?
God forbid.
It's just like denying the moon exists, or denying that Tuesday is a thing. Like, it just
Tuesday's
is
not a thing.
I don't believe in Tuesdays.
I don't believe in Tuesdays.
I do.
Time's an abstract concept. You know this.
I've seen them. Yeah, but
you've seen Tuesdays.
Yeah, but they do exist.
They do exist.
As a concept. No one said they existed as a physical place.
Ah.
But they do exist as a concept.
I know Fridays exist, because they're a thing. Yes, anyway, people who deny climate change are evidently going to start harming progress. And
start? You mean continue?
Continue, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
We have the technology that's there. We need somebody to realise that there is both economic and ecological sense behind it and opportunity. And nobody can see that right now because
this was supposed to be a dubious answer, Lewis. This sounds like a sensible answer.
Okay.
I think what we should do is continue to disagree for the sake of disagreeing and constantly hold up things that are meant to help and then not do enough anyway. And then when our children come to us in 50 years and say, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you, when the entire scientific community said that this was going to get worse, why didn't you do anything? And we have to shrug, and then they execute us. That's how I think we'll solve this problem. We'll be put up against the wall in 2050, in the scorched desert the Earth used to be, and shot in the back of the head for complacency.
While somebody charges their iPhone.
Well, you won't be able to do that anymore.
Somebody might be able to do that.
With a bicycle-powered generator.
Yes. Next topic. Or shall we call it?
We could do, like, alternating the fluffy topics with the ones about our sudden and inevitable demise. This podcast, incidentally, brought to you by our sudden and inevitable demise. The universality of death. It's coming for you, but it doesn't care. Do you have any sponsors for the show? This show is sponsored by Lewis's inability to come up with a sponsor.
I don't know.
Can you say something funny? You have a hangover.
Tell
us about that.
Yes. I have a hangover. I don't know. I feel like this. You make it sound like this is my first time I've had a hangover. No, I feel like death. I feel like regret. I wake up in the morning.
Suffering from visalgia.
Whatever that word is, then yes.
Well, visalgia is a combination of the Swedish word kvice, which means pain, and algia, which means shame following debauchery. Hangover.
I'm not ashamed of it.
Well, you should be.
I like booze.
I've had enough of recording this.
Yeah.
Right,
Let's stop it.
until next time, go away.